that. What, I need a...
Instant results.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Look at all the new faces we've got here. Oh my gosh, and all the tables are occupied. Oh, except this one. Okay, yeah, but I'm here. But we must have 10 new people here. If you're new, hold up your hands, please. 4, 5, 6.
3 years later.
Linda, you can hold that hand up a little higher. Okay.
I'm still new.
Oh, good. It's good to see everybody this morning. Let me tell you, if this last week is any indication, this is going to be one hell of a bee season. Let me tell you. All right. Just to get started. All right, we'll start off with that right there. Well, I sent that email out. Did everybody get the email? You see something on there you wanted to see? Who's not getting emails? Okay. Could you check with, Rhonda's not here, but can you just get a list? Well, she's the secretary, but our treasurer will have a list. If you need your email on there, please give it to her. Okay? It was, as everybody knows, the last couple of days has been really nice and warm and beautiful, and of course it did this nasty turn of events for today, but it's going to be like that all year, I think. Anyway, Mike's Bees have a new caretaker. Hey. Linda, Ray, stand up. Linda kind of inherited them because Mike's wife just didn't think she could take care of them. So we ended up we moved them over to her place this week. And we found a hive with a queen we didn't think had a queen. And a hive that we had no queen that we thought would have a queen. So that's what I mean by it's going to be one of those years. Okay? So we're waiting a week on her to see if she's going to come out of the woodwork by being too small for us to see at that particular event. But so we're going to give her another week and hopefully either get her a queen cell or a queen or some more bees. So that was our thought when we left yesterday after setting them all up. So I'm driving, I start thinking I'm going to get some gas. Well, my credit card and me didn't match up for some reason. I didn't have my glasses on, couldn't tell if I was pushing the right buttons. But anyway, I let the guy behind me go. I didn't need gas. So I went over to Walmart Park and was going to go shopping. I get a call. Is this the Cheatham County Beekeepers? Yes. We've been sawing some trees down on our property, and there's a tree with a bunch of bees in it, and they're flying around. Can you do something with them? I should have asked right then, how long have they been flying around? Well, 2 days it figures out. Robin and I went down to check them out yesterday. Well, they had been sawing the trees like they were going to make table heads out of it or tabletops out of it or something like that. And I guess the bees gave them a different idea. And so there's 2 logs out in this one house that one's got saw cuts in it where they went through the bees and the honey. They had honey in there. And there's another log, which we think where the queen is, that's not sawed at all except for a big old chunk. So my husband's right now sharpening the chainsaw. I don't know if it's dealing with him or dealing with the bees that's worse, but anyway. He wants to know exactly what he's going to do when he gets there. I'm going, I don't know. But anyway, we got some of the bees or some of the honey into a regular hive box. And then we kind of covered everything up as best we could with what we had. And today I'm hoping we're either going to insulate them and get them pointed in the right direction because the hive that we want them to go into is right there. But if we can get them pointed in the right direction, wait for the temperature just to get up at least another 10 to 15 degrees. But I hope we can get that done before Monday. But that's what I mean by it's going to be one heck of a year. Okay? And those the bee that we found with Mike's was a beautiful carniolan, so it looked like it had some carniolan descent. So we're going to be talking about various types of bees that we have in our hives, even if we don't know we have them in our hives. So later. So let me just look at this quick agenda I have, which happens to be the same as the email. So if you remember it, we were going to talk about a lot of things, but let's get through and see if we have any news from our officers. Vice President Eric?
Let's see. Well, not much.
He's going to talk about the not
Yeah.
so much the variations, but he's got a good handout later. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to take care of it then?
Sure.
When we start talking about that.
Definitely.
All right. And Jennifer?
Good morning, I'm Jennifer. I am your newly elected treasurer. If you haven't paid dues, I'm your girl.
A good time to do it now because
Yes.
we're going to vote by hand whether we raise those dues or not.
And part of the reason we're looking at raising dues is thank you, Heather and Cammie. In the background, they have been working on, and we are getting one step closer to being able to do it online. And there's a fee to do that. So that's part of the reason we're looking at upping the fees for the membership dues. Plus, it's overdue to do that as well and consider that. So it won't be substantial, but that is looking at. So we're one step closer to getting able to pay online. There's some information to sort out that we got sorted out. I'm going to meet with Kevin hopefully tonight or tomorrow to get that set up since he's the developer and I have no idea how to do that. So we're all just teaming together to create a little more ease in terms of you all as members and make it easier for you to get this money. So I think that's it from me.
Okay, Jennifer, thank you. Now we got some new people, and let's see if I can. We already introduced Linda, but let's go around the tables.
June Stewart.
June, welcome to the Bee Club. Do you have bees already?
No. I'm trying to get information I want to, and I'll probably need help and
She
make
lives near
research.
Chapman, or Cooperstown, right?
I'm off of Oak Clarksville Pike on Gasser Road. It's Ashland City, but in between Pleasant View also.
Okay, so in that area. So I know we've got some beekeepers in that area. If you're from that area, raise your hand. No, they don't happen to want to come this far again to the meeting. That's okay, some of us travel.
I'm Mike, this is my wife Gina.
Okay,
We live in Pleasant View, the Coopertown side of Pleasant View. So we go to the Robertson County meetings, and but Tyler Fulton is the one that keeps saying, we need to come over, so.
yeah, I know, where
We
is that
are.
boy?
Of course, he's not here. But we started beekeeping, we took the class in, I think it was March of 2020, and then COVID hit, and we got no mentorship besides YouTube. So, but we're up to 11 hives now. So.
Wonderful, wonderful. Are you thinking of selling, or are you getting more?
Well, I know if, knock on wood, they make it the rest of the winter here, we definitely are going to have to split them. I've tried to get in touch with Mike Studer to get them inspected so that if we needed to sell some, we can. But I haven't heard back from him yet. So
You have to bug him like crazy.
That's
He's
what
coming over to Mickey's in my place on the 30th. He's going to your place on the 30th of March, right?
Right.
He's coming to my place that afternoon.
Okay.
That's it. If you don't get on his list by December,
Oh, I think that's what Tyler said. It'd be hard.
it's hard to get a hold of
Pestering
him.
him. So I got to send out my weekly email to him, daily email, whatever, try to get them. But we may sell them if we can get them inspected. We may sell if we run out of room. But right now, I think we can split each one and still have room. But any more than that, we are going to have.
Make our neighbors
We don't want to make our neighbors mad.
Yeah, I understand that. We're trying to get, if you just write your name down there, we're going to put them all in the drawings for the door prizes. So, I mean, if you brought.
That's the email to email.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Email list.
All right, she's making the other thing up. All right. Up to the next table over. New people?
I'm Gary Drumlight. This is my wife Gigi.
Oh, I've seen your name on the list,
From the
yeah.
Bull Run area.
Yeah, Bull Run, yeah, okay. It's just, sometimes you're new when you haven't been here for a while, and with COVID, everybody's new. Okay, go ahead to the next table then, please.
is Shauna Elliott. I moved here a couple months ago from Bellevue. I bought a house over on Petley Road. I wanted to keep bees for a long time. I joined the Davidson County Beekeepers Association, took like the 9-hour beginner class and got a hive, and I was so excited. And my homeowner association told me that.
So what's the last part?
Do what?
What'd you say the last part?
My homeowner association told me I couldn't have bees. So after a while, I finally moved out to the country. I'm in an area now where I've got a and I can keep bees. So I'm very excited. I'm happy to be here and learn.
Okay, good. Well, we generally have a new beekeeping class, but we have the last 2 years not produced one. So we're hoping this next year we'll get started earlier, maybe in November, and get some, because October, November, so that the people have time to budget the things that new beekeeping has and you know, get stuff that you need before you need it or whatever. In the meantime, you can find a mentor amongst all these people and peddle with bees if you don't have any bees, okay? So just remember that, if you don't have any bees yet, that's not the sticking point, okay? In fact, our last secretary who passed away this last month, he always said you should come a year before and not get bees for a year. Just learn from the people who are your mentors and pick them up. Now we have some new, another new at that table.
Hi, Sam, Sean, and I. We're from Charlton.
Okay.
And we're in the same boat. We have a hive, no bees. Just want to learn something before we
Get a swarm box.
Yeah,
Get a swarm box over town. Because there's all kinds of beekeepers out there. And I know one that's not brown too much. We'll talk about that later. I tell Tyler that all the time. So I'm just going to hang my swarm boxes near your place.
Oh, Chris, we just want to check the other tables.
You got to check the other tables. Linda's already been introduced. She's taking care of Mike's bees, and then anybody else new that I haven't got? Please. Okay. All right. So there's the officers. We're just going to go around the tables to beekeepers that are in here and see what their favorite spring chore is. So what do they need to do before they get ready for spring? So we'll start over here. What are you going to do before the weather gets nice?
No, but we've been getting all our frames together and ready to go, so we'll be ready for more hives. So
Yeah.
that's
Super.
what we've been doing all.
Now you've
Right
got how many hives now?
Well, we had 3, we're down to 1.
One.
Yeah.
So, and that one's doing really good. They're flying real bad.
Yeah, it's basically on life support. We wrapped it in a bunch of insulation and put 2 sugar boards on it because the other hive died, and we just like put it on that one.
Okay. All right. Just
They're
make
doing
sure
good.
it's not too black because you could overheat the outside
Yeah.
covering. Okay. How about here? What do you guys?
Been cleaning frames, getting frames ready for new hives.
Did you guys still have Saskatraz queens?
You know, my Saskatraz hive, it didn't make it through the winter.
Mm.
So I have a Russian volunteer. You got Russian?
Well, maybe.
I was wondering where it came from. But
Base worms, they sure you could have 10.
We always call our queens mutts, okay?
but
because a little bit.
yeah,
of everything.
they're coming out. They're coming out like 40 degrees, so
They're ready.
yeah.
Sorry, I skipped over you.
That's okay.
What are you doing?
I still don't know, but I'm trying to get organized, get my stuff in order, so I know what I have and how big I can be. Or
That'll be interesting. I need some of that. I need some order in mine.
oh, I spent 2 days in my shed just building shelves so I can put boxes, bottom boards, covers, because it was all thrown into a corner. It was
That's
a
a
mess.
good time to do that. Let's go one more back there for that table bees. What are you doing for your bees right now?
Me?
Yep.
Just building equipment and getting ready.
All right, super. I love these people who can build equipment. That's great. I'm good friends with the Zooks. Okay.
I'm ready.
You're ready.
I had everything set up. I've got a shipping container that I keep all my supplies in. And
Well, the truckers aren't using them.
Yeah, the church was, that's right. You know, I'm ready to get me a couple more hives. And I've got my, swarm traps. I need to probably look at those swarm traps, check the frames and see what they look like. I think I left some frames in it, I'm sure that.
I still have one hanging over at Linda's house, so it's okay. She's gonna take care of that for me this year. Mickey, what are you doing? You got how many hives now, and how many are still alive? Or
70 or 80. And
there's your man, Dave.
Everything's built. We're just about to start painting all the boxes and stuff we built this winter, and can't wait about a month. Start looking for swarm cells.
Good, good.
I'd love to open one up and see them hanging on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll be doing some splitting before that.
March and then early April. If you don't split them, you'll lose them.
If you can handle it, I mean, if and you have days set that you're going to split, I would really appreciate it if you let the club know that someone could come over and watch or help. Because
it might be a one-day notice.
it might be close. Okay. But,
usually a warm, sunny day after 2 days of rain is when things happen that you need to act on a full hive.
Yeah, the bees like the moisture.
They'll storm out of there that day.
So where are you located at?
The road between Nashville and Ashland City.
And I'll say the same thing to anybody who's got more than 2 hives too. So if anybody else wants to split and wants to help, go ahead. We'll get to you. And what are you guys doing on your bees here?
Well, I've been building a little bit of equipment. We're hoping to get so I've been building the bottom boards and the inner covers and covers, but the boxes, I think I'm just gonna go with Zooks and buy them because what I'll get the lumber for and the time that I put into building them.
You know, Tyler said the very same thing to me last week or so ago, and so did you.
You just went to Pete Zooks. You might want to tell them what you didn't see.
They're out of mediums. They're out of unassembled stuff. They have some built mediums, built deep boxes, 10-frame boxes, and some 8-frame boxes, but he's getting ready to order pine. They can't get any more cypress.
Oh, wow.
So,
just one in Franklin?
No, in
Now, his brother is in Lawrenceburg.
Yes.
And,
Well, it was Lawrenceburg now.
And we were told that he's pretty well stocked, if you're willing to make that drive.
Yeah, that's usually where I get mine is with Albert, and Pete is up in Kentucky. Albert's down in, I think it's Etheridge. Okay, because they moved. But, and hopefully they're still getting cypress, but in any case, pines works too. You can paint it, it works fine. The issue I have is whether, as a friend of mine often says, they sometimes are wonky when they put them together. There's a little crack that shouldn't be there, or there's something like that. So if you build them yourself, then you only have yourself to blame. But when you don't have it matching up just perfectly, that's what duct tape is for. That's mine. That's my 2 cents worth right there. How about the next table over? Anybody doing something different for right now? Maybe making some syrup or feeding pollen patties or doing anything like that? How far did you move them? And did they find their way? Or did you close them up at night?
Well, it's funny because they'll go back to the same area. I mean, you saw where it was. We're literally, I don't know, 100 feet further back on the property. But they'll go right back to that same spot.
Exactly. Moving law is 2 feet or 2 miles. So you have to move them 2 feet at a time so they can find it, or 2 miles, and then move them back 24 hours later. Okay, but that's just a rule of thumb, okay?
Is there a better time or worse time to move them?
Obviously not, since we moved them day before yesterday. I think the best time is to move them in winter anyway, because they're all clustered and
can't lose.
Dumb and happy, not coming out too often, so they automatically reorientate themselves as soon as their little eyes say, I'm in the wrong country. So, you know, so,
I've had really good luck moving them anytime. If you do it when the weather is good enough to leave the hive completely closed up for 3 days.
that's interesting.
Close them up, move them.
This would be a perfect time.
3 days later, open them up, they'll stay.
I also wondered, I've seen videos where they put grass or something in front of the entrance, and they have to reorientate to where they are.
I've done that,
Have you done that?
yes.
You'll
Grass
still-
and,
you'll
and
still-
branches,
You'll still see a lot of those go back to the original place though.
but you're losing just the foragers,
Right.
okay, at that point. So if you need to move a hive, you know, the foragers will go back, and if there's nothing around there, they'll drift into another hive. So especially, I don't think a hive, they're very neighborly, you know, they kind of let people in if they're bringing food. So if the foragers are out and they come back and can't find their house, you know, any hive in a storm type thing, you know. So, did I miss anybody? Oh,
I just have a question.
Trey?
So, I heard the gentleman in the back said that he's feeding his bees the 1-to-1 sugar water. You know, it's the temperatures are still getting below freezing, so is that okay to feed them the sugar water this winter?
yeah, if you've got sugar boards on, I wouldn't worry about feeding for at least a little while, okay?
I mean, do you feed yours the?
Nothing liquid in the winter.
No? Okay.
Once it hits 60 degrees.
Yeah, if you put sugar water on top, it's outside, of course it can freeze at night. But if you put any sugar water inside in the winter, it just adds to that humidity, which could be dangerous.
Okay.
But right now, with temperatures ranging anywhere from freezing on up to 50 degrees, you know, and I'm sure you've got a shim on yours where they're inside, underneath the lid,
I feed right through my outer cover.
right through your outer cover. So if it's frozen, they can't get to it, so there's the temperature gauge.
There's enough heat coming up there.
Yeah.
The closures that are really big, it was.
Well, I know all of Mike's bees were clinging to the sugar he had up there, so, and they're hungry. Okay, so consider, like, I don't feed mine if I got candy boards on, so I don't, until I take it off for the winter. If I take it off for spring, rather, you know, which is coming up really quick. When they're split, it's off. Of course, it's then set out in various other places, so if they want it, they can go get it. Sure keeps my cleaning things down, because they're going to clean it up just fine. Now, let's see what else is on the list here. Spring chores. Okay, we decided as a club not to do packages. That's fine. You saw the people who are going to be splitting. Okay, there's at least 2, 3, well, Tyler's not selling nukes this year because he's not getting inspected. Okay, so I should have nukes, Mickey should have nukes. With a little luck and a good splitting adventure, we should be set to go. Okay, not a lot of them. Mickey, how many do you think you'll have? You usually had 50 last.
My winter nukes are sold. My April nukes, I'll probably have 25 of them.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking probably 10 maybe, you know. All right, so there's 35. There are other places, and I think you can go to Maple Bend Bees. There's that conference that's coming up here soon. Somebody there might be selling bees. They have packages at Maple Bend. They also have, which is Murfreesboro, I think it is. And they have packages up at Man Lake and bees at Man Lake at Kentucky, Clarkson, Kentucky. So if you want packages, that'd be the way to go. They are selling at the same price as nukes were last year. So be aware.
Maple Bend moved.
They did. They moved to their farm, and I sent that out in an email. Yeah. So be aware of that.
Zook sells nukes.
Who?
Peter Zook.
Peter Zook.
Yep.
Is he going to sell nukes again this year?
Yeah.
That little rascal told me he's getting out of the business yesterday.
Somebody just posted on his Facebook page the other day, $175 for a nuke, for 1 to 10 or 1 to 20 or something like that.
Yeah. So.
It's not really, Peter's not doing it, it's his brother-in-law that's doing the bees. He's
Okay.
the one that does it. From
All right,
what I
well,
understand.
in Franklin, Kentucky, that's not far away, an hour or so. I know Pete maybe has somebody down there who does. I mean, not Pete. Albert has other people down there that do nukes also. So check around. You know, and if you're not getting, I think I have 2 people who want nukes from me. So I still have some empties, but I'm not going to tell you how many I have until I actually have them. All right, I've got only 3 overwintered nukes, so I didn't do on that. But they all seem to be making it. I think I've only have 2 hives with the brick going the wrong direction, out of 25. So when it's going the wrong direction, that means I haven't seen any activity that I like to see out the front door. So that means I got to check them. So, all right, let's see what else we got. So we're not doing nukes. I mean, we're not doing packages, but I just gave you people to look for. You gonna be selling? You're not gonna be selling? Okay. We talked about splitting. We're gonna hold dousing for a little bit later. Let's see. And now we're going to talk about dues increase. We've been at $10 for as long as I can remember. And somebody said we had it at higher at times, somewhere in there, but I just never kept track of it that much. At $10, that's kind of like going to the store. Just don't check it that often. But I think it's time we increased our dues, not only to help with the Stripe function that we're trying to get set up. It's still Stripe, aren't we? Still working on Stripe? Okay, so without you guys' help and without you guys working it together, and Rhonda, we have got an active officer corps, except for me. And these guys have really gone to town getting stuff done. So thank them on the way around my tables today. So the dues increase. I'm thinking $15 to $20. Napa does 20, right? Okay, and we're a lot smaller than Napa, so 15 is good. Does anybody have any thoughts on raising our dues prices? If you pay today, it's still $10. That's the way I look at it.
I think that's one thing we'd also talked about as consideration was $15 for an individual and then $20 for family. I think that's another thing we kind of.
We did have a difference in family price before, but somehow that got dropped somewhere along the way. Okay, so but I'd like to see a show of hands how many are for number one, just for increasing the dues. Okay, y'all know how hard it is to run things. And the church is very nice with us. We got to pay them sometimes. So this is a whole lot nicer than going to the library. They keep moving us to smaller rooms every time once in a while. In any case, okay, so we're at an increase now. 15, 20. You want to do it as a family, individual price range? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I approve of that.
I like that, 15 and then 20, 15 individual.
Yeah, is that fine with everybody? Our expenses are not much.
Is that going to be substantial enough to cover costs? And it would be better to raise it right at first and then not have to try to raise it again.
Well, because we're not selling packages, we used to get $5 a package. Okay, the minimum order was 20, so we only made $100.
Right.
So it's not like we have a lot of big expenses. The Christmas dinner is the biggest one, and I have a feeling it keeps going up every year. But still, I think we can cover that. Robin, you've been the treasurer for a long time. What did you think about it?
I kind of like the 15, 20.
15, 20?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Trey. What's our current balance and what are our annual expenses?
What are the expenses?
So expenses that I know of at this point, in 20 days in, are swags. We have t-shirts and hats. So if you buy those, we just got our new inventory. We have sizes for everybody now, small, medium, large, extra large, double extra large. The Cheatham County Beekeepers Association t-shirt.
She can do that.
So
how much are the t-shirts, Jennifer?
Can you talk about that up here, Jennifer, so that she can get it on the video?
We'll pick you up.
$15 for
Wait, no, she's gotta keep coming.
You gotta keep coming
You
to
gotta
the,
come on camera.
because we're trying to get you on camera.
And plus it also supports the club, so.
$15 for t-shirts. We have small through double extra large. Yes. And we have hats as well. So that's an expense, but when you buy t-shirts, it cuts the
It's a
expense.
good looking t-shirt.
It is a very lovely design.
How much do we make it?
Patterns for you, patterns for us, or patterns for, what is it?
Designs for you.
Designs for you, yeah, Pleasant View.
And we make
So there's a
$5 whole a t-shirt. So, yes. The other expense is the Christmas dinner. And the only other expense will be Stripe, but that will be covered, if you pay online, it'll be included, it'll be covered in dues. Stripe is a software platform that allows us to take money online.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to our website, if you go to Cheatham County Beekeepers Association website, we will, in the next 2 days, have it set up so people can pay online. If they want to pay dues online, they can pay it online. If they want to make donations online, they can make donations. Some of you are new, but Mike suddenly, our secretary suddenly passed away very quickly recently, and so there's a memorial fund for Mike that we all set up online as well. So
The website was not working yesterday, so.
yeah, it was, yes. That's why it's the next couple days, so we're gonna talk to Kevin, see what's
Maybe
going
he
on.
was just, maybe he was working.
I think he's, yes, so.
Is it .org or .com?
Still not working as of right now.
Yeah, CheathamCountyBeekeepers.com.
But not right now.
But not right now. I'd give him a couple
Don't go
days.
today.
So that's, are there any other expenses that I don't know about?
We try every year have a picnic in the summertime.
And a picnic in the summertime?
Now, that's not a very large expense because everybody brings a dish and we usually supply the meat.
Yeah. Got it.
Supply what?
The meat.
do
So
the
the association will bring the meat and everyone brings sides and desserts for a picnic. So.
And bags of charcoal to cook the meat.
And bags of charcoal. And our current balance, I didn't peek, but we're at about $4,000, a little over $4,000 in our account, so.
So we had, the swarm boxes that we paid money for the wood and all that last year.
Yeah, we had projects.
We had, a centrifuge that was bought, right?
We did the extractor.
Yes.
If y'all
The
know,
extractor.
we have a club extractor. It
Yes.
stays at Chris's house when you need an electric one, not a hand crank. How many frames? 8 frames in there at a time?
Yeah, I think so.
We have one as well.
Yeah, well, this is the club box. That was
Okay.
our expensive
So
one.
is there
You can
any
use
kind
it.
of thought for any kind of projects this year to do?
We haven't formalized any, okay? I can't think of anything that we've got plans for. Anybody else think of things we had plans for?
We're not doing the packages.
The bees out at the dam are probably gonna need to be re-bead, but, good swarm box trap will work for that, as far as I'm concerned, but,
I mean, if we're gonna do any kind of projects, we might wanna consider the money that we're gonna do. If we wanna do a nice project, we might wanna think about $20. I mean, $5 difference is not gonna be a big.
I know, but we're sitting with 4,000 in the bank right now,
Oh,
with what our
right.
expenses are generally, it'll last 2 years.
I have an idea. What if we raise for people who just joined in or their first payments, you could raise it to 25 and get a free t-shirt, I was thinking,
That sounds good.
I don't know, I'm just thinking over here.
That's a great idea.
Value added.
Value
Value
added.
added.
So getting back to my initial question.
We'll think about that one.
I think I asked, what's our current balance and what are our projected expenses? So our
Well,
current balance
there's
is about
probably less than
$4,000.
$1,000 in expenses is what I think. What do you think, Robin?
Yeah, we're not doing yeah. The Christmas dinner, each plate was $15 a piece. I think we paid about $435 out of our pocket. But we split it with the master gardeners. They also paid $435.
Okay.
So it'll be
We don't have a lot of expenses, is what we're trying to say.
Less than 1,000.
How many dues paying members do we have? Have you been able to?
Excellent question. I don't know the answer to that yet. I have a new list, so I'll be following up with those people and we'll check. We've been kind of waiting for Stripe to get up so people could pay, because if they're not making it here, we wanted to give them an option to be able to pay online. So we've been stalling a little bit for that. So I think at this point.
I think we'll probably have more money than we need because everybody wants to save the bees, you know, so.
I think at this point we've only collected dues maybe from about 20 people at most, so there's still some due collecting to do. So that's on me to figure out. We're still working on accurate lists.
We can answer some of those questions at the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
What I'm hearing, I mean, we have lots of money in the bank. We have, our expenses aren't that great. Maybe, why do we need to raise dues?
Well, we just said, because if we get a Stripe, rather than people who are paying their dues, paying the extra increment, I guess we're gonna pick up that expense. Is that the way you look at it, Jen?
Yeah, so if people are paying online, we don't get all $10. So we have to up it so we end up with $10.
How much does it cost to pay online with this new program?
It's gonna be less than.
It's a couple bucks. I think it's like $1.67 or it's less than $2.
Okay.
But we want to be able to make it more accessible to people to pay online because not everyone can get here on the 1st of January or the 1st of month. So,
And a lot of people would just want to contribute,
That
not
makes
have
sense.
beehives or anything, not, maybe physically can't do it, but they want to help save the bees.
Well, we
There's
gotta
gonna be a lot
work,
of
we've
people
got,
do
we've
that.
gotta watch that on how much we get in donations, because then we're gonna have to think about how we're gonna change this friendly club into a 501c or something like that, so that's all into, we'll have to see how the world changes in the next year, so I'm hoping it does change. That being said, I thought 15 and 20 would work too. I'll show of hands for 15 for single and 20 for family. I think that's a go, guys. We're gonna go with it, and but it's not. If you paid your dues today,
yeah, if you pay today, you get the $10.
that's right. $10 today.
If you pay today, you pay 25 to get a shirt.
I can roll with that.
Let's make a deal. It's right here, right? All right, let's see what else I've got on my list here. Dues we got. Yay, we got some more money. All right, let's talk about splitting. We talked briefly about splitting. We have some people that are going to be splitting soon.
Chris, can I make one more before we move on to
Please.
one proposal? Because I think this is a fabulous idea. As a new member, if you pay $25, you get a free T-shirt.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is.
All those in favor of that?
If you want.
There you go. Only the new beekeepers. Okay, we have new stamped on your forehead, folks.
There'll be a choice. You can either pay the regular dues, you can pay $25 and get a free T-shirt. So there'll be a choice. It's not mandatory.
There you go. All right. I don't know how many she brought, but you might want to line up now. All right, I agree with that. All right, that passed, folks. So,
Chris, how much are the hats, people?
the 15 still. We like regular. One number fits all type things. Okay. Luckily,
15 for me, right?
Rhonda's going to have fun making the minutes out of this discussion. Okay, so I don't know if I've always said that. Yeah, the 15 and 20 passed because she's going to take this video and she's going to make the minutes out of it since she's at the advanced beekeeping class today. So, so anyway, let's see what else I have. Anybody got anything to add today? We talked a little bit about. We're not going to talk about splitting itself. I just told you who's going to be splitting. Raise your hand if you're going to be splitting this year, and if you want people to, we'll notify people you're going to be doing it.
I think so.
You want to have a couple people over to watch? You know what you're doing?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
All right, there's at least 2 or 3 of us here that know what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult, really. At least, in my opinion, you just take the queen out on the frame she's on, you stick her in a little box, and then you get 2 more frames of cat brood in there, and 2 more frames of empty stuff, and you let them go at it for a little while on 5-frame nuke while you take this other one, and you can split it as many different ways as you want. Now, that's a real quick and dirty way of saying that, but essentially, look online. Cayman Reynolds shows you how to split hives. Other beekeepers online have great videos on how to split.
If the ones that are going to split, will they put it on the email?
Yeah, we'll put it on the Cheatham Beekeeper email, so make sure you're on that.
Date, time, or something, address. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're gonna split a hive, a great way to get that out quick and easy is also on the Facebook page. You could always just post, hey, I'm splitting on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking at.
Message me for address or whatever.
You talking about the group page that you have to join?
Yes.
Could be either.
Yes, it could be
So
either.
if you're not a member of the group, you don't see that, or do you?
Correct, but the Cheatham County Beekeeper Facebook page is for anybody who wants to look.
Okay.
So don't get fancy.
So is there?
I would send out an email. The email that you get, I think, has got everybody's name on it, right? Everybody's address. So, I can just pick one out of my list and say reply all and tell them I'm going to split on this and this and day. This and this time. Here's my address. Tell me if you're coming. We might need a little briefing on what exactly our Facebook does versus our club page does and stuff like that. So
We had some, we need to talk about that because we had some comments to ask you about that as well.
okay, you want to take
Wanna
over
talk
now?
about it now?
Yeah.
With everybody? We can at least throw out. He told me to get in front of the camera. He's trying to get even.
It's been a very important part of it.
Thanks,
Left
Lloyd.
place.
Thank you. You're so in trouble.
This is Heather, everybody.
Okay, so on the way over, we had thought, we were discussing this and saying we have the Facebook group, and Cammie and I post on there, but then we also have the, we have the group and we have the page. So Mike had started the group, the private group, where you had to accept an invitation, and anyone in the club could join it, but first of all, if you had to be on Facebook, and we knew not everyone was on Facebook. So that was number one, was somewhat of an issue. But we wanted to have that be available to everyone. If you're on Facebook, you could access it. So we try to post on the actual Facebook page that is open to anyone, and no one has to be a member. So like we put, meeting announcements and things like that. And then there's the group. And so we had several months ago a lot of sort of debate back and forth about what the group should be used for. Because you can, as you know, a Facebook group can stay private, and other people from the community who weren't in our group would be not seeing it if we didn't want them to. So we had talked about, should we use that group exclusively for mentor-mentee discussions? Or should that just be another form of group discussion that stays within us? So we kind of, with Mike's passing, he had sort of taken that group and sort of, not necessarily control, but decided, he was posting in it and he was doing things with it. So now that he's no longer here, we just needed to make a group decision or an officer decision about what to do about that group. Are very many people in the group? Is there?
I didn't even know there were.
The Facebook group versus not just the regular page. Okay, so there's maybe not a ton of people. Oh, Mickey, yeah, I know you. I see you in there. Were you gonna say something?
So it's asking to visit. What does that mean when you are asked to visit? I'm on the page right now.
So you're trying to? Is it looking for the group? So the group has like a big sunflower on it.
Yeah. So apparently I'm joined.
I
was looking at what you were saying. There was one that said Cheatham County Beekeepers, and then there's the Beekeeper Association group.
Correct.
And so
That's the way I'm on the
that
same
one is
page.
the private group, the other one is the.
Just the regular, anyone in the world could look at our Facebook page, and that's fine, because that way we can recruit, and we can say, you know, having a meeting and let you know. But that group is a private group, but Cammie and I were not sure if Mike has exclusive access to controlling it, or if he gave any of us access as well. So we were saying, like I said on the way over, we were saying, do we need to see if who has full admin access to that? Was it only Mike? Because if it was only Mike, none of us may be able to make changes to it, because we just have posting privileges perhaps. So we kind of need to see. But the other side of what we wanted to ask you was, what do you want to do with it? Do you want it to be a private Facebook group where you all can, you know, have a conversation without knowing that everyone in the world, only the club can see it? Or is there not even enough interest because you may A, not be on Facebook, and B, you don't post to groups, and this is plenty? Yeah, Jason.
I'm not a Facebook whiz, but is there like a posting board that you can or that you only have one account, but you can make a posting board for everyone in the world to see, and then like a private section with the members?
Yes, so that's what we have. We have a private group with only members, and that is it's a little confusing because one is just the Cheatham County Facebook page and one's Cheatham County Facebook group. But the group is only us, and I want to say Mike just included everyone. You know, so.
Well, if he didn't. We've only, it's our third month, surprisingly, but, and we didn't know anything about it, so
Okay.
So if he added us, I don't know anything about it.
You had to go in and do something, because he added me, but I never went in and acknowledged.
He added you, right.
He sent out invites.
That's what I thought. He sent out invites originally, and this, we're talking like maybe fall, maybe when we talked about this. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm looking at, what was the sunflower?
Yes.
Cheatham County Beekeepers Association Group has 91 members. Then you have Cheatham County Tennessee Beekeepers,
Which
has
is-
51 members.
That's not us, and someone else started
Cheatham
that.
County Beekeepers, I have 480 people like this, so I don't know what this.
Is that the one with the,
I think that's your.
Okay, so that's our page. So that's just our regular page that everyone in the world can see, the Cheatham County Beekeepers.
Okay, so Trey's got the group.
So the group with the sunflower, it's private.
It says there's the one with.
So there's more than one Facebook.
I just asked to join and
one at a time.
Sorry. Sorry, you just asked to join?
it shows that it's a public group with a sunflower.
Oh, so they are letting you, so then he did decide to set it up, thank you.
I just asked to join and it automatically accepted.
Okay, so that's just a settings thing. So this was a Mike thing, so we're backtracking on what we know, but then he set up the group and he's obviously done it so anyone in the world could go to it and ask. And so currently it's not a closed thing where we can privately discuss things and not worry that someone else could see it. We can change that as long as Mike didn't keep himself the exclusive person who could do it. So we need to figure
Then
that out.
again, we have access, Arlene will be back Monday. She went to Chicago with family. And Linda and Arlene are tight, so,
Okay.
so.
Well, see, that was another question. We didn't know what Arlene knows. So we didn't know if she's accessing any of Mike's stuff. Okay.
When Arlene gets back, she does have access. She did find where Mike wrote down all the passwords.
Super.
So she can pass the passwords on to one of you guys, and you all can start working with the
Great.
group, doing what she wants when she gets back, and give her a day or
No.
two.
Oh, yes,
I'll get
of
the
course.
passwords.
Do we want to limit it to club members, though?
That's the question.
I would think we would probably
Because
want to
then-
limit it.
I would think so, since we already got the open
Right.
Facebook page.
We do.
If it's a group.
Yeah.
just-
Can we rename it or
Yes,
something?
please, let's rename it so it's.
Then it's not so
confusing
confusing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I go online and just Google Cheatham Beekeepers and I get something about Viagra, so I just kind of, I'm sorry, but I have. But at my age, you know, I hated computers back in 1969, I still do. So I guess I'm not in with it, okay? But anyway, I'd rather be out talking to the girls and finding out if they're coming out for good or they're just looking around or are you robbing or what are you doing?
Do we have a name to rename it?
We can vote on it.
We can get some suggestions out there.
And we
Anybody
wanna
got a
keep it
good
private?
name?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
The Fun Bee Club.
Or make it in
Jennifer?
tribute to Mike in some way, you know?
That would be smart.
I
We've
think
got
the
a lot
idea
of-
of keeping
I'd
the
rather-
Cheatham County Facebook page public is important to let the community know what
Right,
we're.
that's staying that
Absolutely.
way.
That's my 2 cents. I think the more people who know what we're up to, that's.
But
the
yeah, there's a
group
separate
should be
group
It's
within
not
that
public
page.
anyway at this point, so.
But you don't want, I don't want people who I've never seen before coming to my house to watch me split bees.
Yeah.
Right.
I want people I know that are members.
But I'm wondering if we should keep that with the member email, since there are people who don't do Facebook, that if you're splitting or inviting or.
That's kind of what we're talking about.
Email, yeah, so rather than through the groups, I would say make email the private communication and the Facebook the public view.
Here's a little ditty to think about. Last fall, there was 30 beehives stolen from one farm in Murfreesboro. And if we just blast everything out in public that we're meeting at this address to split 30 beehives, then the wrong person might see that and go the next day and get 60 beehives.
Exactly.
Just thinking.
Can we keep the Facebook page public, like you're saying, for the obvious reason, and then make
As
the
a
group
private group.
private? And we just need to check off, if somebody wants to join, are they a member? Sure, then we would accept them. And then you could post your address comfortably, I think.
I have a question because I'm kind of familiar with YouTube. If you're a channel creator, you can create posts on the channel. So you could also post stuff on there because you have a YouTube for the county, the club, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Because we don't have Facebook personally and never will.
that's another thing. Some people just aren't gonna be on Facebook.
Yeah, and everybody has YouTube.
What about instead of having to have two Facebooks that you have to keep up and do things? I mean, you should do the one that's already there that's public, and then anything that we do within the club, just do with email.
That's what, that's what she said, and I'm leaning that way, quite honestly, because the first thing I do is grab email to send out a message to anybody saying, we're gonna extract, or we're gonna do this, or we're gonna do that, Tell me if you come.
And I don't know that much about Facebook either, but like if I'm a member of that group, that private group on Facebook, and I respond to something, can my friends that I'm friends with that maybe not be in the club, can they see what I put? I don't know, I've not looked at the Facebook, so I don't know if that would be.
I believe they can, if it's in the public area, I believe they will, if, I think that's the idea I was thinking too, because right now, if we post in the group and we post on the public page, we're just posting the same thing twice, and you're all seeing it. If you're on Facebook, then you just saw it twice.
Can we merge those two?
We can just get rid of the group or close it for now, and if there's a reason to have it, like I said, originally we had talked about mentor-mentees having a place to privately connect with each other and say, hey, Mickey, I'm having this problem, can you help me, or whatever. That was our original thought, so maybe we could just close it or temporarily shut it down, and if the club has a reason for it, we can open it back up.
Is there any way we could get a list of everybody's name and address, email address to help too? Because
Does everybody have a list of everybody's emails?
If you've ever gotten an email from us, you've got all the addresses. It's like
Yeah.
7 inches of emails at every.
So like a club,
Some of them are
Directory?
So one of my plans is.
So we need to make a directory.
Yeah, so one of the plans is this year, I have a list of everybody, I think like 101 people on the email list. My intent this year, over the next month or so, is to make sure that list is paid members, or people who are grandfathered in, so that you all know, because at this point we don't know, I don't know, so I doubt you don't know, but some people more than I know, is that I'd like to make sure that our email distribution list that we create is active paid members, so that way you all know if you are emailing somebody who's paid to participate and engage in this group, so
Yes.
that we know that. With Facebook, we have no way to manage that. So that's,
And that bothers me a little bit, is if we're gonna go to an online payment system, anybody can pay $15, $20 and say, I'm a member, and find out where everybody's addresses are.
Exactly.
So that's just as flawed in my book as, so I'm all for a member directory that we can hand them on a
Me
paper.
too.
You know, and so when we get that, we'll get you one out, okay? In the meantime, you have to come to the meetings. What, Trey?
Did you just say that when you go to this online payment system to make a payment, you can see other people's names and addresses that are?
No, I said if we had the two Facebook pages, because they're both the same, essentially, they both have the same amount of members, because Mike didn't narrow it down just to members, okay? It opened up to the whole public. It would be no point having your privacy would be offended by going into that page. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so.
Okay.
All right. Does everybody understand that? I'll let the guru get it down to geek, okay?
On the email where you have everybody listed on this email, you can make that, where you can't see it.
Right, we need to kind of come together as a club on blind copy. Because that is something, because we've talked about that before, that when we're sending out those emails, we need to blind copy. Because there's no reason, first of all, you have to page through 100 people to get to the message, and then there's no privacy. So if we all, when we do our emails blind copy, I think we can take care of that, like, then no one will, you'll only see yours.
I think that's a.
Yes.
But everyone needs to comply when they send an email.
Longer, of all that.
Yeah. So we'll get when we get this list finalized, it'll be one list, and just remember that if you get an email with that, if you're sending an email, blind copy all everybody, BCC instead of the regular 2.
And if you aren't getting emails, please make sure you get on this list, because I'll use this as well as, and I'll verify the other list with former officers to see who's in there that they know.
And does anybody know Ron Saxton?
I know, it's right here.
There he is. Your email keeps coming back every time, so double check on them, because I keep getting 6949.
There's a little underscore?
No, there's no underscore in the thing. That's why we're keeping.
RJS_6949.
No, we don't
Okay,
have.
I got it on here with that.
Okay, all right, good, because that was on my. I'm tired of getting. We don't know this guy. Well, now I know you. I'm sorry your Chiefs didn't win, though.
So those of you who are getting emails, you can anticipate hearing from me, because I just want to verify who's actually on that.
And if you get an email, make sure you verify that it's correct, so she can.
Yeah, so
So
I'll
it can
email
go
everyone on
both
that list and
ways.
say, just check in, make sure you're active, you pay, and just let me know, and then we'll create a clean list from that. So appreciate you all helping me with that.
All right, let's see what else I had to talk about. Dowsing. You're going to hear more of Jennifer right now. I'm hoping she's come to prepared to tell us how to douse. All right, and here's why that conversation came up. Yeah, I'll be. We sat down after the meeting last time in the offices, and we started talking about funny things, okay? You know, and dousing's one of those things where you just, everybody thinks it's just for water. But in Vietnam, they actually douse for tunnels, mines, and things like that. Of course, they had a gun in one hand and a dowsing rod in the other, so they only did one-handed dowsing for them, okay? But there's a lot of individuals who have some talent in that area. I know Robin does, and Jen, you have some.
No, I've never doused.
You never doused, but you do the pendulum, right? Oh, yeah.
We use it for energy just to demonstrate humans have energy too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So then Robin's going to be talking about dowsing today. Eric's going to be talking. Anyway, we've got some people.
Rods. He's doused successfully.
She brought you some rods. We've got some. Who brought their dowsing rods with them?
I brought them.
Okay. Nikki's done water. Okay. So we're going to talk about. That's our education for today. Was talking about. And the reason we talked about it was because we have swarm boxes, which I forgot to put in my car. But I did bring 2 white ones. Anyway, we have swarm boxes that if you want to put a swarm box out. You brought 2?
I'd like to get a couple swarm boxes, please.
Okay, let's get a list started with people who want swarm boxes, because I have so much bee equipment in my back of my car right now, it wasn't room for swarm boxes.
I got those that we took to the management area, and 2 more at my house.
Okay.
No, I did not load them up.
What do we do with swarm boxes? I don't have anything yet.
You're good. Swarm box season starts in about mid-March and goes all the way till June.
Okay.
And you'll get you get swarms off of hives of beekeepers who are either not managing their bees, or they just like them to swarm. Now, there's a lady, and I won't tell you where she lives, and Mickey won't tell you where she lives. Because you can get 4 or 5 swarms off of her hives every year. She just calls you every year, and there you go. They're hanging in that cedar tree. That cedar tree is getting smaller and smaller, though. But in any case, the idea of swarm boxes is to catch free bees. Okay? They've decided that they're leaving. The queen's decided to take half the hive with her, headed out to start a new hive, leaving her daughter behind to take over the
new one. Okay.
I was going to say the royalty aspect, be another queen. So you leave her behind, and then she takes off with about half the hive, and I've seen them hang in trees for 3 days, or they'll hang in trees for 10 minutes because they've already got an idea where they want to go. But when they're hanging in trees, that's when you want to give their scouts something to look at. So they're going to find this box, and pass up one of those white boxes somehow. Let's just pretend it's a swarm box. It's a regular plastic nuke box. And you put 5 frames in there. So you put 5 frames in here, and you put some really ugly looking frames in for it, okay? Let's say you've got some. You don't want to clean this out, okay? Believe it or not, you don't want to clean that. That's a good smell, okay? I would probably clean the bottom out a little bit. But I mean, I'm OCD, but yeah, I'd probably clean this one out a little bit. But I'd leave the wax, okay? And I'd put a frame with a wax on it, or a partial wax filled out. And I'd put at least 1 frame for the queen to lay in right away. Give some place for her to get busy doing that. 1 or 2. And the other 3 are going to be things that you want to build out, the ones that you want that are empty. Because you just have plastic on them, or you just have wax foundation, whatever foundation you use. So you put a few, you've already melted your wax, you've already brushed it on the frames to give them some nice smell, okay, or something like that. And you put it out and hang it up in a tree somewhere. You open a hole, of course, so that the bees will come in, okay. But yeah, they look in there and they go, oh, that's nice. It's already built for me, So they go in the box for you. And then because it's got lots of room, usually on our swarm boxes, they hang down a little bit like this, and that's empty. Or like Mickey does, he straps some more medium frames down below it, so they have plenty of room. By the time you have to pick that thing out of the tree, you better have a good ladder and a strong back.
Do you have to put it in the tree?
No. No. So dousing came about because you can douse for bees love ley lines, from what I've read. Okay. My book is over there ready to be given out. It's dousing for beginners.
Yes, spiritual energy.
Ley lines.
Ley lines, what. Some people don't agree with, some of the thoughts of dousing, but they've doused for treasures, they've doused for water, doused for places where ley lines cross. I think that's where the bees like to be.
Sacred spots.
Sacred spots, or even magnetic influences from the Earth's magnetic field. And these critters know a lot more than we think they do.
They're amazing.
And so I've already had, last year we didn't have much luck with where we placed them, so this year we decided we were going to try dousing for a spot and see if that improved our swarm catching. So that was why dousing came up. So at this point, you know, if you're not into dowsing or you think it's a negative spiritual, which I don't feel that way, you might want to go. But it's just knowledge to use, and if you want to try it, that's all we're offering today, is education.
And how to make dowsing rods out of a coat hanger and a straw. That's the primitive way.
Yeah, so come on up, you two.
Mickey, why don't you bring yours
And
too?
Rick?
Mickey has some really
Eric?
beautiful dowsing rods. But you're not gonna know everything I know about
You
dowsing.
can get them at Amazon.
In a minute.
These in the alley.
I think it's less than $20, I think.
From what I heard, it's idiomotor, I can't remember, idiomotor activities or something like in your hand.
So it's just about energy. It really is literally just about energy. And, you know, as you walk around, your rods will move. And as I understand it, when they cross is something. Just something. So it depends on
What your intention.
What your intention is. So if you're looking for water, 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 then that's what you're intending. If you're looking for ley line, ley line, ley line, ley line, ley line, then they'll cross and then put a swarm trap there and see what happens. There's no sights to this. I mean, there's probably a lot of sights.
You're going to run over the water line.
Yeah.
No, it's
We're going to go around here. I've got my intention set, and I'll tell you if it works or not. Uh-oh, it's pointing at you.
I heard your intention.
All it is just magnetic energy and now you know every single thing I know about them. Yes, Suzanne has something to add.
From what I think.
Let Suzanne add something.
Okay.
Yes.
So this is very interesting to me because my father was a water well driller.
Yeah.
We're Perry Water Well Drilling in Cheatham County. And if any of you all here have a water well or know anybody that has a water well, my father probably drilled it, okay? So he did the exact same thing, but he called it water witching, okay? And he would use a dogwood tree and would cut a fork of a tree. And I would watch him, he would just go to somebody's land and he would water witch. And where that land dropped down, that's where they dug their well.
I know many people
Something
that
to
do
it. I mean, it was very interesting to watch.
Mickey's.
That's how he found a well.
Perry.
James Perry.
He did ours.
Yeah.
Well, my wife told me, we were looking for water, and she said, go cut a cherry limb.
Yeah.
And so on. So I said, well, I went to Lowe's and got some copper. So I built these guys out of copper tubing and copper rods. And just for the heck of it, I went hunting for water. And 3 out of 3 times I found water. Now, here's another little doodad. I was out in a field, a cut field, that had a big pond down in the end of it, and it had cattle tracks going to the pond. And I thought, why aren't the cattle tracks straight? They're always like this going down to the pond. As long as I stayed in those cattle tracks, I was crossed. If I walked out into the grass, they opened up.
Wow.
The cattle were led by something.
The ley lines.
The ley lines.
lines go they're all around the world. It's a magnetic energy field. Animals like to stay on ley lines.
But I've been amazed. I actually found an underground stream because I dug down where I found water. I dug down 8 feet and hit water, and I saw it streaming. I followed that stream, and it told me exactly where that stream was, down to a well. When I got off 2 feet, it opened up. I got back on it. I just followed that underground stream. These things are accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, the races.
Yeah, the queen species.
The race is the queens, that's right. Eric, you're up.
Well, I just put together this chart, and I made a few copies. It just basically shows the most common races of bees that are likely to be found around here. And
Did you make enough that I can hit
I made 12, so I can email this out to people as well. So we'll put some on each table. I'm not an expert in these directions, but those of you who,
I doubt anything spiritual.
there's a couple that I left off.
Ooh, that's a good science project. I'm gonna write that down.
How are you gonna write it? Common. Out here.
I'm gonna never mind.
So this is just kind of a nice way to see what these different bees are up to, what their most common traits are, how they are to handle it, and fun facts. And so there it is. So it's kind of fun. Like I've been taking pictures of our bees, and I think we have the carniolan, if I had to guess. I was saying I've been taking pictures of our bees, and I think for the most part we probably have the carniolans. That's how you pronounce it.
I can make more copies if more people need it.
Does anybody need a copy, want a copy? Because they can make more copies and make church.
Yeah, I'll take one.
We only need one copy.
5 or 6?
Take a picture of it.
Something like that.
We have phones.
The reason we brought in.
Eric, could you just send us in the group email? Yeah.
The reason we brought up various queens is because if you go to Man Lake's website, they have some good choices. So this will help you decide what kind of bees.
Man Lakes?
Man Lake, yeah. And they're selling queens and nukes and packages up there in Kentucky. If you need a package.
Am I too late to start with it being February?
No.
Okay.
No, because the package people would only get the bees here by the end of March.
Oh, okay.
They weren't going to even get here until the 30th, 31st of March. So we got some people that they're selling nukes, and you've got these companies are still selling bees online. They'll ship them to you. Clarkson's only, what, 2-hour drive? No, Clarkson, Kentucky, from Man Lake. Yeah, about 2-hour drive from most of these. And the reason that I was getting all these different breeds is because I just wanted to, well, I wanted one for myself, truthfully, okay? But also, I think I've got some queen cells ordered that are coming in mid-March. Now, my reasoning is the people who really love to graft, like Mickey and Tyler, and I'm going to let them continue to graft and make queens, but I'm not, there's nothing I'm going to do about that. But I've decided I just want to do it quick and easy, so I'm just going to pop a queen cell in the hives that I split this year. And so I ordered 15 each of carniolan and Italian. I like Italian in my hives because they're strong honey gatherers, I don't like Italians because they tend to rob, okay? Carniolans were a group of beekeepers from, was that Slovakia, or where were they from that we bought bees from? Romania. And those bees were really good, and I still have a couple of hives of those bees. But I like to intermingle my genetics is what I'm trying to get at. Okay, I like to, I've tried Russians, they just stuck here long enough to give me a few genetics, but carniolans and Italians seem to make it through the winters a little bit better here. Carniolans especially. And they're a darker bee, which a lot of beekeepers want. They want Italians because I can see her. But you can also mark your queens. We might discuss marking queens later in the next meeting, if you ever want to do that with your queens. That's how many mark your queens? Any of you? Yeah, that was a few. It's easy to find them sometimes, unless they get to be superseding, and then you got a new queen in there. You got to find her. But I always suggest for new beekeepers, learn what the queen looks like so that you get without marking. But I like marking once in a while. In fact, I had one marked purple for the longest time because I got that one from Her Royal Majesty, I called her. And I got that from Kendall's hives when he said, I don't like this queen. I said, I'll make her. You know, so I marked her purple, and she lasted about 3 years. So, you know, you get to pick up different kinds of bees, and I think God made us to love everybody, so we might as well just love everybody, you know, let them love each other too, you know. The queen won't mate with drones from her own hive, so you've got to have drones from other hives out there, and they go hang out at the bar, you know. I call it the bee bar, you know, the drone bar, because they're just waiting for a queen to fly by that they can, well, you know, when they do the things that they're built to do. But that's bees for you. Any questions for today before we head on out?
Reminder that starting next month, am I right, that we're doing?
Oh, that's right. This is the last winter meeting. Next month, we start 6 o'clock Monday night, the second Monday.
Cool.
Second Monday.
Second Monday, 6 p.m.
6 p.m. Thank you, Jennifer.
No.
Second Monday of
Huh?
I got a question.
what month starting?
You have a question? Go ahead.
Or comment or
Go
whatever.
ahead.
On the swarm traps that the club built,
Yes. I have a list of
you
who
do have
has
a
them.
list and the numbers?
I have probably about 4 or 5.
I've got 5,
You've got 5.
yes.
So
and
I will probably be calling those who have swarm traps when I get calls from people who want swarm traps. Now, why don't we just start a list? Who wants swarm traps?
And Mike had how many at his house?
I have somebody that's going to take care of all this here when she gets back. Jenna is going to take care of this. Huh?
She was saying about keeping a diary of your hive, something that I found out interesting that helped me when I did my hive checks, find a second person with me to go through, and I have a paper that I did that I'll.
Like a hive checklist?
Yeah, like a checklist.
You want to bring yours next meeting?
Next month.
There you go. Just write down
Very helpful.
your name, address where you think you're going to put the swarm trap, and that can be changed later. And the swarm traps we built last year, we did 35 of them, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
And we had, how many catch swarm traps? I know Mike said he caught 2 hives with his, and
I caught a hive, but it didn't have a queen. It was really strange. Well, I lost it.
yeah. I've had hive swarms waiting for the queen 3 days up in a tree. You know, and just when I thought they were going to leave, they turned right around, went right back into the hive they came out of, and they came out the next day. Okay, because evidently she wasn't willing to go anywhere, so I guess they talked her into it. I don't know. But it hung around for 3 days up in the tallest tree I had in the yard. So next month we'll talk about Russian scions and a few other things, you know, and how to entice swarms to stick around. So right now we're looking to see how many people want a box to put up, and if they don't have a box to put, bring them to my house. I'll give them to Jenna. She's going to take care of Jenna Bryant. She's going to take care of these swarm traps now. A lot like, so that we don't have to have a bunch of equipment.
You know what I'd like to see someone do is gals a property.
Now, keep a hold on until she gets back.
This is the George Prize.